this one in my entire life.
I've heard
What happened?
I went on a talent show.
How old were you?
I was 12 years old. I
She
went
weighed
to a talent
160.
show. I wasn't 160 till I came back from California.
Let her finish that.
Visiting my aunt, Fanny.
I remember that.
Anyway, now
Story.
what was I going to talk about?
You were talking about the Hippodrome.
Oh, the Hippodrome and the talent show. And I sang 5'2", eyes are blue, tootsie, tootsie, tootsie poo. What can those eyes really do?
You remember this when you were 12?
I was 12, and all of a sudden you heard the people yelling, "Get rid of her! Get rid of her! Get rid
Get
of
her
her!"
off there. Boo!
Mom, what was that? Was one of my favorites. What happened with Aunt Fanny? You went there and she fattened you up and Esther. What happened with that?
You know what?
That's my
On
favorite.
a train, I went to my Aunt Fanny. She lived in California.
That is a long train ride.
Was a long, but in those days,
They
if
pulled
you
them.
were young, they had part of the train. There were conductors that would take care of young people.
But that's like a multi-day trip, isn't it?
It was 2-3 days
It was
by
3 day
train
trip.
out to
It was 3 days.
California. And they would have people, conductors, who would take care of the young people. And I used to sleep in one of those things where you would pull the shades. And
And how old were you
they
then?
I was 12. And they would make sure that we were well cared for. They really did.
And so what happened with Aunt Joyce?
So
I mean, Aunt
when
Fanny, Aunt Fanny.
Aunt Joyce, I went to see Aunt Fanny. She and Uncle Jack had a shoe store. And they really did very well.
This is the Aunt Fanny that used to live with Nana, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Used to live with
I
Nana.
never met her husband.
And Uncle Jack and Aunt Fanny. And I went to the, I'm on the train. You know, Aunt Fanny used to take me to get lunch at a big counter. And she said, eat whatever you want, eat whatever you want, eat whatever. And Uncle Jack used to say, put on a little weight, you know.
Put a little weight.
Esther ain't going to be happy. He says, oh, she ain't funny. Oh, hush up, hush up. Let her eat what she wants, let her eat what she wants. My sister Joyce gets on the train
When you got back
when I got back
to Baltimore.
to Baltimore. My sister Joyce is on the train, and she walks right behind me because I had blown
She didn't
up
recognize
like
you.
a balloon.
No.
I got so heavy.
So she didn't recognize you.
She
She
didn't
was like a
recognize me.
Oh,
I was a
blimp.
blimp.
Blimp, yeah.
I mean, I was like a blown up blimp.
Her mother didn't recognize her.
My mother did. So my sister goes to get off the train, and my mother's there. She says, where's your sister? She says, she ain't on the train. My mother starts yelling, stop the train.
The train wasn't moving, Cookie.
She's yelling, don't start the train. My daughter's on that
Start the
train. And they couldn't find me, and finally they did find me. And I got off the train. And
Mother says, what happened to you? What happened to you?
yeah, my mother, well, I
Like you
was
had a
blown
disease
up.
or something.
I mean, I blew up like a blimp. And the next week we come home,
Took her right to
and
the
when I
doctor's.
come home, my mother goes right to the telephone to call our at those days you had, well, you still do, doctors, the pediatrician.
Dr. Kaplan.
So she called Askin, John Askin, at home. And she says, John, it's Esther Huff. He says, Esther, you know what time it is? He says, my daughter is a blimp. She came home from California and she looks like a fat little blimp. And I
How long
was
were you in
there the
California?
next morning, and the next day he put me on a real diet.
How long were you in California for?
8 weeks, the whole summer.
Wow.
Went out there for the whole summer. And I
Water's
love
right
it.
there, baby.
I
You can
just
drink your
love
water.
You can drink your water. Want me for a bowl, Bunny?
Drink your water.
She's like, thanks, Pop Pop.
There's nothing in it.
Yeah, there is.
There's a little bit, not much. I could pour some in, so